Any other board comments? Mrs. Pham?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Some of my parents have had some questions that I actually posed and didn't get responses for, and one of them was they want to know what the definition of a woman is in the sexual education curriculum for Broward County.
I just think it's very important that we stick to the purpose of, again, the curriculum, the policy, the support guide, which is to support children and not get distracted by other agendas. Thank you.
Just to respond to that, the curriculum is required to fully inform parents so they can either consent or say no, they do not want to consent to having their child receive sexual education. So I think these are crucial terms. I think they're actually very basic terms that somehow this shouldn't be a difficult response required.
With everything that's going on in these YouTube streets, from Just Pearly things getting crucified for her infamous interview with Nick Fuentes to Abba and Preach doing hit pieces on Fresh and Fit and Sneeko, some people still can't seem to come to grips on what the definition of a woman is. This is RPG TV. I am RPG. Let's get into it. So, Florida school board members clash over definition of a woman. Florida school board members clash over the definition of a woman this week during a tense debate about their district's sex education curriculum. Broward County School Board member Brenda Pham demanded to know the district's curriculum definition Tuesday, arguing that parents want clarity on the matter. They want to know what the definition is in the sexual education curriculum, Pham said at the meeting, specifically what individuals can get pregnant and what individuals can give birth. Irritated colleague Sarah Lenardi, I guess, pushed back on the request by claiming Pham was pursuing a political agenda. The goal of all of us being here is to support children, she said, and to educate children, not to engage in a political line of questioning that distracts from that mission. Lenardi also asserted that gender identity discussions was banned in some grades, an apparent reference to recent Florida legislations that barred the topic for kids in kindergarten through third grade. But Pham countered that the answers to her question would determine whether some district parents would exit district schools in favor of private or charter options. This is going to weigh heavy on them and whether or not they choose to leave the public school system or whether they stay based on some of these responses, she continued. They are very serious. They want answers to these questions. Pham noted that she requested the definitions previously but had not received them. Interim Superintendent Arlene Smiley responded that she didn't know if the curriculum contained a gender definitions. That question is more than a question, she said. It's a thought process, and it's an examination of a lot of laws based on a lot of things. I'm procrastinating and hesitating because there is no clear-cut answer I could give you at this point. Pham responded that the terms man and woman had been used in official proceedings last year. At that time, it wasn't very difficult to decide, she said. So what has now changed where we don't recognize what's a man and what's a woman? Another district staffer said that she would research whether or not the curriculum included gender definitions and report back to the board. Pham asserted that parents had a right to know the district's position on the polarizing topic. I think these are crucial terms, she contended. I think they're actually very basic terms. This shouldn't be a difficult response. The exchange came amid a wider debate over the proposed overhaul of Broward's sex ed curriculum to make it abstinence-based. The district issued an amended curriculum after receiving a letter from the Florida Department of Education last year directing it to align its sex education with state standards. The proposed changes would roll back discussion of issues including puberty, HIV/AIDS, sexual molestation, and contraception at certain grade levels. Backers argued that the discussion of sexual topics should fall under the purview of parents. Opponents of the new plan countered that it would ultimately harm kids by keeping them ignorant of sexual health matters. The board eventually opted to squash or quash the draft and will revisit the subject in the future. So they say that basic question was agenda driven. Whether it be agenda driven or not, I do understand that Florida has this new legislation that they passed stating that these type of discussions will not be had in schools, and I do agree with that as long as they're not being pushed in one direction and then the opposing side decide to push in the opposite. I think that when it comes to schools, children should just know the basic reading, writing, arithmetic, and just keep it at that. And I think all else should be left up to the parents. What is a woman? Simple. A biological female born with the characteristics of ovaries, vagina, what else they got? Secondary sex characteristics, breasts, widening of the hips. It's simple. That's what a freaking woman is. If you were born with those characteristics and your body secretes estrogen and you periodically have a menstrual cycle, you are a biological woman. Ta-da!